Welcome back to another stream tier list where we all vote for where stuff should be. I've already done a pistols and shotguns tier list, and if you guys would like to vote from YouTube, there will be a separate list linked down below for every YouTube viewer to place their vote. You guys can go ahead and tell us where you think each weapon should be. I do want to say for the new players watching this, there are people of all experience levels, playtime levels, power levels in game, and different intentions. There are people of all sorts of different things voting on this. So not every weapon might be where it should be. Most of our tier lists so far have been accurate, I think, but there will be some meme picks, I'm sure of it, and we'll talk about that as we go. But without much further ado, I say we get right into it, starting with the bazooka. So bazooka is a base game weapon. It can be any element. It actually hits really hard. And I don't know, due to its availability, I want to say S tier, but I want to take S tier pretty seriously. There are some crazy strong launchers in this game, and I think A tier is just fine. But honestly, I don't know. It's a great weapon. Launchers are tricky because in the end game, in the 160s where I played most of my games, you are not going to be taking down a smasher with a bazooka. I did the math on a Santa's Little Helper with with optimal crit rating, crit damage perks, and it kills a smasher in 30 seconds, which is very slow. The discharger, on the other hand, kills it in about 3. So that is the easiest S tier of the entire poll. I did not realize the discharger would be the second vote of the stream, but yeah, that's the easiest, most resounding S tier I think we're ever going to get. This weapon annihilates smashers. It is probably glitched because it's doing... I heard it from AS407, who's a big bug tester in our community. This was versus the Mythic Storm King, where it was ticking its damage every 2.5 seconds, when it's supposed to, or no, it was doing it every 0.2 seconds. So 5 times per second it was doing damage to the Storm King, when it's supposed to be doing damage every 1.5 seconds, every slower time. So it's actually 7.5 times stronger versus smashers than it should be. I don't know if that'll stay forever, but it's an amazing weapon regardless. The vacuum tube launcher does tremendous damage, group damage, of course, as all launchers should, but it also has chain lightning damage, and that's really, really good. It is locked to nature, and it's extraordinarily expensive. The community says B tier. I've always put this in S or A tier. It's extremely good damage in crowd clearing, but I think A tier is where it's at. Yeah, I think that's...
definitely B tier because it's that expensive.
Yeah, that's just where everybody's opinions can change. I think B tier's a little low, but I understand completely. V6 launcher is one of the first launchers I actually supercharged because it's really fun. It can be any element, shoots very accurately, has great range, super fun to pair with the insane rocket loadout. S tier is a hard no. A tier is honestly kind of where that should be, but yeah, I think A tier is where we're all going to be putting that one for sure.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm just messaging Tiermaker because they actually gave me early access to this feature. I have no idea when this video is going to be live, but as of recording, this was the very first live showing of this voting feature, and they've dropped out of the stream for now, but I am really happy with this. Voting as a community is so fun. Why everybody's putting this in B tier, I have no idea. Does everybody know that this is just the bazooka, but more cost-effective? This is literally better than the bazooka. B tier is way too low. This should... This is an A tier. This is, I think, a lack of education from our community. Probably should have said something. That absolutely should have been A tier. I don't know what you're doing. It's the same weapon. Why is it so low? Thumper is a semi-auto weapon.
It looks bad, bro, so it goes to lower tier.
They called it trash cannon. It's not a mistake. Everybody says A tier. I don't know. The damage never blew me away, and the range is pretty limited. I'll put it B tier, but I can understand A tier. Definitely a lot of fun, as Demon Gamer said. It pairs really well with the insane rocket loadout, where you pop a war cry and spam this thing all day. Super, super good. The Sodbuster is one of the hardest hitting launchers in the entire game. It has 4 impact perks, if you care about that. I don't know about...
Actually fun.
Yeah. S tier is fair. A tier makes sense. It hits like a truck. It has that 44% damage versus elemental targets, so it's not going to do great for smashers, but I can understand A tier. Yeah, I'll go with the crowd on this one. S tier, I don't know. S tier launcher should be able to handle smashers, but that's pretty much the Wrath, Pot Shot, and Discharger, which I think is actually how my Rocketeer list looks anyway. Yeah, it's not a very complicated discussion. Not a crowd clearer, but nothing kills mist monsters faster. I will say, based on the sheet damage in-game, the Wrath is mathematically stronger than the Pot Shot. However, anybody who's used the Pot Shot in-game would know that the Pot Shot doesn't care. This weapon is routinely doing significantly more damage than it should. Like, the sheet damage will tell me 330k, and then it'll be regularly not critting for like 800k. I don't get it. This is S tier, by the way. The Pot Shot is just bugged to be as strong as it is, but it's been bugged like that for like 4 years. Oh my god. So we're just kind of used to it now. Jabberwocky hits insanely hard. As of recording, I have not posted this video yet. I'm waiting for the Jabberwocky to come through the weekly shop, but we were doing a double crit damage, totally rocking out, demo penning the lead build with a teammate's Warcry, where this thing was doing 10 million damage per shot because it shoots in an explosion and then it explodes into 3 more projectiles that all mirror the damage. It's very, very strong. Jabberwocky is an amazing weapon. And so is the Wrath. The Wrath struggles with crowd clearing. You need to charge it up and it's super expensive. You should not be doing that. Honestly, a bazooka would be just fine and way cheaper, and even the trash cannon would be literally better in every way. But single target, yeah, I said nothing kills faster than a pot shot, but that's not true. If you crit with the Wrath, you will sit down an enemy, hit scan super fast. Very, very strong weapon. Yeah, who put in F tier? Somebody who thinks they're funny. They're just trying to swing the vote, but I'm glad that the chat's mostly taking it seriously. Snowball Launcher is less exciting. We just had like 3 or 4 S tier picks in a row. 3, I think. The Snowball Launcher is like the Thumper, but water. I don't know where I put the Thumper. B tier? Yeah, B tier. It's fun. It's not a serious weapon. If you pair it with that rocket loadout I keep mentioning, you can spam it super hard. You'll have a good time, but I don't know. Yeah, Lock to Water is a hard sell. You might as well just use the Thumper in normal situations. What else do we got here? My throat hurts from recording 3 of these in a row. Shark Attack.
It's not too bad.
Shark Attack's got perks that are great. Every single element. Affliction, which is amazing. F tier is super unfair. What are you doing? It bounces around, which makes it
the Final Frost.
It makes it kind of hard to use, but like it's an A tier weapon if you can aim it properly. I think
the projectile does bounce
yes,
somewhere here and there, so it's not always an accurate weapon.
I think the F tier people are just people who can't aim. They're probably the console users in chat.
Some people who can't complete Final Frost, because that's how you unlock this, is Final Frost.
I'm glad A tier won out. That's where it should be. So the Santa's Little Helper simply cannot handle smashers, but as the community is voting, it is pretty much the best budget. Well, trash cannons a little bit, but this thing is insane for crowd clearing. I use it a lot for with triple damage perks, which you should be using. Crit build is honestly wasted on this weapon. With triple damage and reload, you can one-shot power level 250 nurses, which is a huge breakpoint. You can just instantly kill them. I'm going to pause it on the next vote right away. You can instantly kill nurses with a Santa's Little Helper. It can be any element in the game. You should probably just keep it physical, because that's plenty of extra damage. You can hit the shielders through their bubbles, so it's an excellent utility weapon. And it, like I said, with triple damage, does enough damage to one-shot everything you need it to. Nurses, shielders. You can bully fatties, but that's kind of the limit. You don't really want to use this versus mist monsters, but it's an excellent weapon. Excellent, excellent weapon. I'm interested to see how the community votes on the quad launcher. This is a weird weapon. There's nothing like it in the... Well, that's not true. There's nothing exactly like it in the game. It shoots a pool of fire. It's the only weapon that does that. I know the Dragon's Fury leaves behind some fireworks. We'll talk about that later, but it's pretty not insane damage. It's fun, and it's actually surprisingly viable, and you can stack those pools of damage to do tons and tons of damage. The weapon damage in-game looks really low, but that fire damage does so much. It's a weird weapon. Definitely a fun one if you're looking to have a weird time.
Yeah, and because of that reason, it's like just D tier for me.
Neon Launcher. You know, I wish Matteo could stay in this call for this one. We could have that conversation again.
Oh, yeah.
This weapon is super expensive, a minimum of 20 energy cells per shot. It shoots through walls, which is cool. Noble launcher, not neon, whatever. It shoots a slow firing projectile, which can do good damage. It can do over 1 million, but it's slow and expensive, and I just think F tier is fine. Metal Marauder actually hits harder than the Sentinel's Little Helper, and it's useful for all the same reasons I mentioned. It is limited to physical and fire, which is fine. Like I said, physical is kind of what you want to use anyway. It does hurt you with the 6 perks while adding extra damage in the process, so it's not everybody's favorite. That's probably where the A tier is coming from. But it can also do extra damage versus nature enemies. So if you're specifically in a fire zone, if you're specifically in a nature zone, you can run it fire and it's great. I'll put it A tier for the drawbacks mentioned. I think Sentinel's Little Helper is better, but the Metal Marauder is definitely in the conversation. You don't want to forget about it. Jackal Launcher, same conversation. It's got the damage and the perks to be like an A tier weapon. I think it's a fan favorite, which is where the S tier is coming from. Who doesn't want to use this thing? They cackle when you shoot. You can just... I got the Jigglypuff sound effect. I can't replicate it with my mouth, but when you shoot this weapon, it's like giggling jack-o'-lanterns. It's very, very satisfying. Very, very fun weapon to use, and I understand the S tier. I think logically it's not an S tier weapon, but I see where you guys are coming from. I would put the Gravedigger in S tier for the same reason. I think B tier. All the semi-auto launchers are kind of on the same page. The Easter egg launcher is kind of a low B tier because it shoots a mine, and that's where the F tiers are coming from, I think. It's a weapon that it doesn't shoot normally. Like, it doesn't bounce into an enemy like you'd hope for it to. It shoots a mine on the ground that the enemy needs to walk into, or if you shoot on the enemy, it needs to explode on contact. I think F tier is, again, just the console players that can't aim their shark attacks. I think these are petty votes. All the PC players are putting it in B tier, but yeah. Dragon Sphere, I mentioned, is very similar to the quad launcher. I don't know where F tier is coming from. The damage is pretty good. It shoots a bunch of fireworks that stay in place and continue to do damage. It's fire only, and I think it's right next to the quad launcher. I really don't know where F tier is coming from. You guys are saying it's a worse quad launcher. I might not argue with you there, but they're similar enough. Is it really so bad? F tier people, explain yourself. I'm actually curious. I want to see some comments in chat.
There's something that we shouldn't talk about.
Well, there is a bug in the game that I can understand leading people to hate this weapon, but I want to see some explanations in chat. I'm holding everybody responsible here. What is this F tier? You can say you're trolling. It's small. What is that? the fireworks is small?
Not really.
I can imagine someone being like, "Why don't you like me, bro? You're small." It's like, what? Why? Trash. Breaks bases. Okay. Well, all right. That's kind of what I expected. Not F tier. I agree. It's just because it's not good. I don't like it. All right. Deciblaster. So it's a quirky and wonky is coming out of my tongue. So it's a quonky weapon that shoots like a bouncing beat blast. If you bounce that up and down or side to side, in my video on this, I titled like the thumbnail. The thumbnail said like deleting a power level 250 smasher, and that's exactly what happened. It takes a lot of setup and it's super expensive. So I agree with A tier. It's not cleanly S tier. S tier, any idiot can just point and click and win the game, but this weapon takes a little bit of finesse, but if you set it up properly, it's super good. The Atomizer, I'm curious where the I'm curious where the community's at, because I recorded 3 videos in a row. I told you I should have eaten before recording this. I don't agree with S tier. I talked about this in my Rocket tier list, where it's not the best for Storm King. The Discharger outclasses it. It's not the best for crowd clearing. You can do a lot more damage for a lot less. 35 energy cells is a lot. It's not good for clearing houses.
Very good for
it used to be, but it's totally outclassed. I think B tier is super fair. And then AS407 said the projectiles miss 90% of the time, and I believe him. I think the community just hasn't caught up with the times. I don't think S tier is fair. I mean, they put the trash cannon underneath the bazooka, so like, what? And now we're putting the Dam Buster underneath it even further. The Dam Buster hits harder. It does shoot at half speed, so that kind of sucks. Typically with a rocket launcher, you don't want to shoot twice. You shouldn't have to. It does have the highest knockback in the game, which is a hidden value. When you pull up a weapon's stats, knockback is there. It's just not shown. We only get impact for some reason. So It is the hard. Oh wow, we're already moving on. Yeah, the Dam Buster is the hardest knocking back weapon in the game, which is why endurance players love it. It just moves the smashers out of the way, and it also does excellent damage while shooting super slow. So it's a great weapon. B tier is low in my opinion. I'll put that A tier. But Cannonade. Oh, did I break the thing? Oh, what did I?
You kind of paused it or something.
I paused it and then I have no start button. If I refresh my page, I can start it. Okay, whew, fixed it.
Yep.
So, Cannonade, I've supported this weapon a ton. I might be responsible for that S tier in chat. I don't think it's S tier damage. I think it's a fun weapon, which is why I supercharged it. It's really good for clearing houses, by the way. It's actually awesome for that. Way better and cheaper than the Deatomizer. I'll put it in A tier next to the V6 launcher, but the community likes the Cannonade. I mean, it's a fully auto. It can be very strong. It can be very strong. Bowler, so that's tricky because it's kind of a worse Jabberwocky, but it bounces more. Incredibly satisfying weapon to use, and I'm kind of with the community on this one. I think the Jabberwocky really earns its S tier damage because it quadruples its damage. It shoots a projectile that explodes into 3 more. It's so much extra damage. The Bowler doesn't have that, but it can bounce around. It's not consistently hitting targets multiple times, like more than twice. But I was able in my Bowler video to one-shot a Smasher because it hit the Smasher and then like bounced into the air and hit the Smasher like 1 or 2 more times. Super fun weapon. What happened here? Oh, is that the end of the tier list? Are we done? I think that's all of them. Yeah. I'm more hesitant about S tier, but I mostly agree with this list. Most of the launchers are in B, A, or S tier, which is fair because most launchers in the game are really good. I talked about this in my top 10 weapons video, which is kind of an ancient video by today's standards, but I put in general launchers in the number 1 tier because they are the best weapons in the game, and that's not that surprising. So yeah, I think we should be able to. Yeah. They fixed the bug already. So like I said, this was the first live demo. These 3 tier lists I've recorded so far, and they were fixing this bug right on the fly. So now you can click through and like see where everybody was at. Like this one, this was funny. People were split between B tier and F tier. That's so far. That's not a close pick. Like some people loved it and some people hate it. I don't know. I still think the trash cannon was a total mistake on the community. It's literally the bazooka. They have the same stats, but the trash cannon's cheaper. I don't understand that, but yeah, like the trash cannon has less durability, but it's proportional. So if you actually take the cost per how many shots you get, it is a better use of your bright core. So it's just a better weapon. But either way, that one thing aside, that's a pretty good list. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys on Twitch. Thank you for voting. I'm saying things weird, like I said, because I need to go eat, which I'm going to go do. Subscribe if you're new. Check out the next video, and I'll see you in the next one.